All right. Good morning. It is Wednesday. We are live, the Gareth Cliff Show on the Real Network. And as has become customary for a Wednesday, I've decided to bring in people I actually know from my real life and have them sit here with us and we talk a whole lot of shit. And this morning, that's precisely the agenda, is that we're going to talk a whole lot of shit. So I hope you're ready to do that and have some fun with us. James and Flex producing the show, doing excellent work as always in the production booth. They say that it's so cold in there with the air conditioning now, they have to cuddle each other, which is slightly worrying. But I don't know. When one of them lays a sexual harassment charge, that's when we'll start getting worried. Here with me this morning is someone who I see every now and then. We don't see each other as much, but we've spent a lot of time actually in each other's company. He's none other than Joe Mann, and you may recognize him from Jacaranda.
Yeah.
94.2, you do the afternoons.
Yeah, I do the sports in the afternoon. I mean, I was on Metro FM for a long time.
But we met at 5 years ago.
That was actually 20 years ago.
Jesus.
2004. That was
nothing like being old, huh?
Just to start the show off, just to remind you how old we are.
Yeah. My business partner's got a kid. He said to him on a video call we were doing the other day, the kid comes in, he's like, "You two are so old," but he's like, means it for me, right?
Yeah,
he's
okay.
like, "You're old." I was like, Jesus, okay, if the kid starts calling you that.
Yeah.
Then
Look, I mean, I'm sitting here with my laptop open with the stuff the last things that I had on.
But you can't see it really.
Yeah. Fortunately for the people, you can't see like what's on my laptop. But I've got applications for high schools. That means I'm gonna have 2 kids in high school.
Jesus, Joe, you got 2 kids heading to high school.
2 kids in high school, and I'm having to do the applications myself, which is also a little bit disconcerting for me because I'm I'm not really an admin person, or you like to tell yourself things like that. That no, I'm not really an admin person.
I know.
I'm in the industry. I'm too cool to do admin until you got kids that are in high school, and you have to fill out.
Congrats for raising them to semi-adulthood. I mean, listen, this is already considering. You know, the way most kids are raised in this country, you've done a damn fine job.
well, that's the thing. I mean,
take the win.
And their birthday, one of their birthdays is coming up, and I always tell them that I actually count their birthdays in terms of the debit orders that they've cost me.
Yes, very good.
So basically, or whatever you're turning, like you're 16, but you times that by 12, and that's how many months I've managed to keep you alive and stay in a job, and basically just like try and raise you to be decent people. And keep you off the pole.
I have no doubt that your children are decent people. But it is nice to have you here this morning.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
Did you have to get permission or anything to come and hang out in this ridiculous and wild show? Or were they okay with it?
Well, I mean, I had to ask. I mean, I thought that it would be just a normal thing, but because you work for like a big corporation that's got a big
media company. Sure, I understand.
And they had to make sure that they had to tell me that I mustn't say anything that would put the company into disrepute, and I mustn't let me slip into things that giving away trade secrets and such.
Yeah, like you are so stupid. You're just gonna like hand over all the trade secrets. And Joe's like, so what are you guys planning? What is your like forecast for the next 6 months? And how are you going to be adapting the radio station? Please, like.
Well, I mean, we actually had a station meeting yesterday with someone that you know very well, Nick Grubb. I mean, he's the CEO of the company.
Nick Grubb. Okay, well, I mean, Nick was my boss at 5FM for a while.
Yeah.
And he's still your boss.
He's still my boss, yeah. So I still say the monthly prayer, rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for Nick Grubb, for when I get paid on the 25th of every month.
Do you rub your stomach when you say it? Oh, Nick Grubb.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen. He was among the better management that I had.
Yeah,
I had some terrible people running things there.
Speaking of which,
he was better. I'm not saying he was fantastic. I'm just saying he was better. You don't have to say a thing.
Okay, I was going to mention someone else who was there when we were at the SABC, Dali Mpofu. I mean, how do you?
Oh no, listen. Dali won that one. The only court case he's ever won. He won for me. So I'm okay with Dali Mpofu. Huh? I'm fine with him. He's a terrible lawyer by everyone's. Everyone says he's the worst advocate. Judges are saying he's like amateurish and shit. Like he got the most terrible reprimand from the bench the other day.
Yeah.
Handed down like you had to clean your shit up, basically. Like terrible lawyer.
Try and win something. But he wasn't he the CEO of the SABC
for me,
at the time?
Hey, dude, for me, he was a great CEO of the SABC, never interfered in a thing. For me, he was a terrific advocate when I had that case against Mnet and won.
Yeah.
And I was happy to be the one case that he won.
Well, I mean, that's how you'll go down in history as the one case that Dali Mpofu managed to win.
Like most things in South Africa, it's when you team up, when you have like Indians, blacks, whites all working together, shit just goes beautifully.
Like Kilani, basically. I mean,
like Kilani.
The Middle East could learn a lot from Kilani, right?
Oh, speaking of the Middle East, I see South Africa is dragging itself to another international criminal court or Hague or human rights court or something situation. I just want to warn our government, and I mean, I'm saying this as a citizen of this country.
Yeah.
You guys just better not have pagers or beepers or anything on you anytime soon, because tell you what, have you noticed how quiet the Ayatollah is? That Ayatollah he's not using his toaster. He's not using his fucking kettle.
Well,
he's not using a phone. That guy hasn't been on the internet for months. He's like,
I'm not touching anything.
If Mossad have been anywhere in any of my electronics, it's overs.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, our governments are old enough to use pages and to remember how to use pages in the first place as well. Because I mean, I think we've got guys that are still there from like 1999, maybe. So I mean,
isn't Jeff Radebe still hanging around too?
Yeah,
he was part of the first administration. That was 30 years ago.
Actually, I see, and I mean, I have random thoughts, like wondering where guys like Jay Naidu are, or like who was the minister without portfolio.
Yeah, Jay Naidu, I think he's running, and this is not a joke. He's running some kind of mindfulness retreat.
Oh.
Like out in Magaliesburg, where people, I don't know, take mushrooms or whatever.
Okay.
And then they find God. I'm not even joking. Like, I think that's what Jay Naidu is doing now.
Okay.
So you asked, and I actually have an answer. I mean, like, the one person
I could have thought about.
If you asked me about, like, I don't know, Tokyo Sexwale, I mean, I saw him like 3 years ago. But other guys from that era, who knows?
You wouldn't know. But I mean, but also, like, I mean, as a person, what do you say to your children that, like, this is what I did at work today when you're the minister without portfolio? Where do you tell your driver to go? Look, I'm a minister, but like, you know, I'm going to work, and then I just spin.
And you have an empty folder. You have an empty folder. What are you the minister of? Not portfolio. Look, my folder's empty. Oh, Jesus.
I just like going around to other ministries and just checking up on people. I'm the minister of checking up on shit.
Janine says, Joe Mann, wow, it's been years. Great to see you. Patrick says, I won't be surprised if Trump rips up AGOA. This government will cry. He won't. Republican governors and presidents have been better for South Africa than Democrats. And even non-fans of the Republicans will say that. It's been a very good thing for South Africa. George W. Bush, by the way, breaking news this morning.
Yes.
This is very important. Joe and I were talking about it just before the show started. For those of you who may be Americans voting from South Africa, or if you watch this show for your politics, in which case I'm worried about you, Barbara Bush came out this morning and endorsed Kamala Harris for president.
Hey, now.
Barbara Bush. So I feel like that's what we were all waiting for. I feel like until this moment, I've been very 50-50 in my head.
Yeah.
Been like, Kamala, Donald, Kamala, Donald. But now that Barbara Bush has said she's supporting Kamala, it's easy for me.
Well, I mean, that's also the youth vote that you want, exactly.
Yeah, Barbara Bush, yeah.
Exactly. She speaks to the youth. She speaks
for sure.
You know, say no to drugs and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. She was the wife of George W. Bush.
Who's
and
mom-in-law.
Or is she the daughter? Because, again, it gets confusing. George W. Bush's mother, who's now deceased, I think.
Yes.
She was Barbara Bush. She was married to the first Bush.
George Bush. Yeah, she was the one who came up with drugs are bad, say no to drugs.
Yeah, right? She had the like Golden Girls hair. Remember her?
Well, I suppose everyone did in those days, yeah.
She used to wear dresses with the pearls.
Yeah.
And she had the curly, poofy hair.
The pearl necklace.
Then
and the
George W. married. It wasn't Barbara. Barbara's the daughter, I'm telling you.
I think we have to try and figure this out. I think
James, pull up a family tree of the Bushes. We could be busy all day. Who knew that there's so many Bushes in America that we needed to pay attention to? But just in case. And I see Jeff Bezos is in big trouble.
Okay.
With his staff at the Washington Post, which they call the Washington Compost, by the way. Washington Post, nobody's in any doubt that they are very left-leaning. They love Kamala Harris. They hate Donald Trump. I mean, there hasn't been a positive article about Trump in the entire history of that newspaper or him, and they're both old.
Yeah.
Okay, the newspaper was established in the 30s, and so was Donald Trump.
And so was he, exactly.
So no one's really in any kind of doubt about how that newspaper feels about the election.
Yeah.
But Jeff Bezos owns it. So he went out in public. I think it was eventually leaked, but he started off keeping it private and went to the Washington Post, said to them, you got to hire some voices that aren't from the fucking left.
Yeah.
And you've got to try to report the news factually, because you guys are costing me huge amounts of money. He's basically bankrolling the Washington Post because they have lost subscribers hand over fist. They are not making any money.
Yeah.
And Jeff Bezos, who's also been very warm to the Democrats, which he's allowed to be. He's a private citizen too.
Exactly, yeah.
He said, guys, you got to at least try to be a little objective if you're a news service, you know. And the staff are having a shit fit. They are wailing, gnashing their teeth, pulling out their blue hair, changing their genders back and forth 5 times in a day.
Shitting in their rainbow underwear.
They are showing off their rainbow underwear, like complaining about everything, screaming fascist and Nazi and dictator into the air, hoping someone will hear them. And three members of the editorial board resigned. 3 members of the editorial board that none of us would know or care about. But I thought it was worth mentioning them.
Well, and it's weird that, you know, people from the left would be so not willing to hear other people's opinions. Because surely if you're liberal and you're like that way inclined, you're just like, well, look, I mean, let me.
What are you, from the 90s? You are.
I am, yes.
Yeah, that was what it was like when we were in starting off in radio in the 90s.
Yeah.
The people who were open to free speech and hearing opposing views were on the left.
Yeah.
It's totally swapped over now.
So now people are just like, listen, you have to let people do what they want.
Yeah.
Or,
I mean, the left is now the party in every country, right? The left is the side of the political spectrum that wants control. They don't want differences of opinion. They're the ones who say, if you say something they don't like, it's disinformation.
And then you get cancelled.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got good news on that front.
Okay.
That era is coming to a crashing halt.
The cancel culture vibe.
I think so. I mean, there have been a couple of stories about me in the last few weeks. I had to be told about people they were even going on.
Oh, okay.
Which is a good sign, because that means nobody cares, right?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's about like who's canceling you, and then what do they do for you that you care so much about that they cancel you.
So, James, you got that picture of that fake news story that they put up? Here we go. Okay, I don't know who Briefly is. It can't be a serious publication. Okay. It's one of these online, it's like The South African, which I think is run by angry expat South Africans in Perth or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like a bunch of really out-of-touch people.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gareth Cliff ruffled a few feathers when he weighed in on Rachel and Sia Kolisi's divorce. Clip in the comments.
Okay.
So
can you click on it? Is there anything?
You go to it and it's our clip that we put together as a promo for the show, which is me going, I don't care about this. None of my business. This is a couple that's going through a divorce.
Yeah.
Now, how's that ruffling feathers? Like, surely ruffling the feathers is all these nosy people who want to be involved in a relationship that isn't theirs. How's that a story? And by the way, it's not a story. Because I think there were like 5 likes on the story, or something.
Well, at least now we've given it credence, and now maybe there'll be more.
Now it's hugely. It's got credibility now, massive credibility. But honestly,
what again from Briefly, so we can give them more.
It's a nonsense publication. The other fake news was when I talked about the One Direction dude, and that caused a whole lot of outrage. I mean, none of it changed anything. So what I'm saying is that I think cancel culture is over. I think it's done. I think nobody cares. You could scream. Oh, the other one was this morning I posted a thing on X, Twitter, on Monday, because Warris was on the show with me.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And we were talking about Michelle Obama, who I call Big Mike. Okay? Big Mike was out there campaigning for Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
And I posted this on X because I don't care really.
Yeah.
And there were apparently a couple of people who were saying, oh, you sexist and racist and all the rest of it. And then some other dude, this is my favorite comment of the morning. Someone, again, I woke up to someone sending this to me, but it has no effect on anything. It's just people commenting. So I saw this morning, which made me laugh. It was, I said, surprise, surprise, Big Mike voted for Kamala, right? And I tagged Warris. And then some guy called Relebogile says, everyone calling Gareth racist over sexuality jibe is conflating issues. Gareth is making fun of this dude, not the race. With a picture of Michelle. So nobody cares. Get over it. We're back to the era of being able to make fun of each other.
Yeah.
If you want to make fun of me, go ahead. I'm all for it. I love it. It makes life interesting. In fact, all my friends, one of the things we love about each other is that we could take the piss. You remember those days, Joe?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I think also we've got such an issue of self-importance that we think whatever we say could get us cancelled, and no one gives a shit. Like,
I
honestly,
think those days are done.
Like, I mean, even like you say with the whole Rachel and Sia story, the fact that you mentioned
an opinion on that, by the way?
Well, I mean, I for me, I'd like to applaud them because I know that divorce is not an easy thing to go through. Also like being in a marriage that doesn't work is also not an easy thing.
Don't
worry,
go through. Headline in briefly tomorrow. Yeah. Joe Mann says divorce is good. Watch.
Well, I mean, it is. I've tried it twice. I can say
you've done two.
Yeah, I'm going through the second one now, but that's the thing, and that's because it's hard to go through life with someone that you don't want to be with, and or go through things that you don't want to go through together. So for someone who's in such a high profile place, or people who are in high profile places, to be able to go through that, you have to applaud them because there's so much pressure for them to kind of stick together and do all that sort of stuff. So my opinion is like, if they've thought it through, and I'm sure they have, it's not something that they go.
They've got kids. You have to think about these things.
Yeah. So I mean, you can't want people to. No, we want them to stay together. Who are you? You don't know what goes on in their lives.
They must stay together because some housewife in Four Ways loves rugby. What are you? Are you completely fucking insane? You want two people you've never met to stay together for you so that you can enjoy the rugby. What the hell? Is this what your life has come to? You need to drink more Chardonnay, Sharon.
What happened to them? They look so happy. That's always the thing that people say about divorced people.
Because you read You magazine. The problem isn't them, it's you. Don't you understand?
That's why you read the magazine.
If you read bullshit websites like we were talking about earlier, or you actually buy. I don't know anyone who's bought a magazine in years, by the way. Exactly. But if you are one of those people, because they're on the shelves, someone's buying them, right? I don't know if they're making. It's like the Washington Compost. You either they're just surviving, like there's someone really rich keeping them going,
or it's old people who just like who
it's old people. They haven't discovered the internet yet. Exactly. So you go on there, and if you see those pictures, which are taken by a professional photographer, you're like, these people look so happy.
They're so well dressed.
These are the kind of people, by the way, who would go onto a prostitute's Instagram page when she's living in Dubai and go, she looks so happy. Wow, she's got such a great life. She's so happy. They don't see the pictures of afterwards where she's lying in the bed going after, some sheik has had his way with her or whatever.
Yeah, you literally don't know what the shit she's been through.
Literally.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, I think Jacaranda are going to be upset with you now. Joe Mann is with us. We're having some fun on a Wednesday morning. I don't know about you, but I'm very excited about these U.S. elections. It keeps coming up, and I'm sorry if you find it boring and irritating. Then all I can do is just warn you in advance. I'm going to be on this page for Mann or Manashowitz. I'm going to be talking about this until at least Friday next week, and probably a bit further too. On Wednesday, I must just check. I want to actually take the whole day on Wednesday.
Okay.
I think someone scheduled a goddamn meeting for me, but I'm going to have to get out of it because I'm going to sit at home with snacks in front of the TV watching those results roll in. I can't wait. Yeah, Wednesday the 6th. They've gone and put a meeting in the middle of the 11 o'clock, which is exactly when we're going to start seeing important
this is a
results.
Big thing for you because I love
it.
You like watching. Okay. As it rolls through the commentary, you'll probably have 3 different TVs.
I do. I have. That's what I did last time. I had 3 TVs. You have snacks. You can invite other people around.
Drinking games.
Games. That's always fun, but not during the day on a Wednesday. So I'll leave the alcohol out. Okay. But it's the best spectator sport in the world.
Yeah.
It really is. This is the excitement that I've been waiting for. So I'm going to have to try and cancel that meeting. I'll see what I can do. Loving the show, as always, says Pat. But yeah, Pat's also one of those people who apparently reads You Magazine.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to disparage Pat, but there we go.
Sorry, Pat. And look, I mean, so basically, this is like the Super Bowl for you, this US elections, because I remember last time, it was like, again, 20 years ago when the popes were changing and they had to change the cardinals. And I mean, I remember you loved that, and we were all waiting for like the puff of black smoke. That hasn't happened in a while.
In fact, when they renewed my contract at the SABC, I edited in like smoke coming out of the top of the SABC building. I was like, Habimus Papim.
Cardinal Gareth Cliff has been elected and rechosen.
It's so great. 6:30 must be a cutoff for the US elections. No, they're going to take so long to count this one because there's going to be all kinds of skullduggery, mail-in votes.
Exactly.
Just wait. Since George W. and Al Gore, every election is basically contested.
Yeah.
They all like, no, I won. No, I won. No, I won. No, I won. That's how it goes. So it's going to be fantastic. This is the greatest season of America I've ever been a part of. Assassinations. Endorsements, non-endorsements.
Being senile.
Fascist rallies, people being replaced at the last minute.
Yeah.
I mean, what an exciting game.
Well, I mean, it has been strangely exciting, but I mean, the fact that someone can say, look, I mean, I'm not well enough to govern the country for the next 4 year, but then we also just leave them in office.
No, I know.
Like, we also know, like, so
right now,
it's like the last injury time.
Right now, Joe Biden is in charge of the nukes. Right now. That guy who doesn't know whether he's a teapot or a hockey stick is right now, Joe, in charge of those buttons. He could have like a bad moment, a senile moment, right?
A senior moment.
Senior moment. You call it senior, I say senile. He has a senior moment now, rolls out of bed, opens that suitcase and presses a few buttons and fucking Russia's gone. Has anyone thought about this?
He could have pressed the wrong button because he just, got out of bed and he thought he was going to pee.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to press a few buttons. Let me see if I can look up how Kamala's doing on the polls.
Yeah.
Click, click, click. Boom. The whole Northern Hemisphere is finished.
And basically, we're saying that that's okay for like a man who's that old to just carry on. We're like, look, we're
sure. The important thing is that you're not
leader of the free world.
The important thing is you're not out there. And by the way, he is campaigning for Kamala. He's causing huge shit because they don't actually want him out there, right? Kamala's campaign is like put the old man back in his coffin and let's just carry on, please. But he keeps going out there. He like went to Pennsylvania of his own volition because he's feeling left out.
Yeah.
And he's like saying dumb shit that's going to put her back even further. He called all the Trump supporters garbage. Just yesterday. Garbage. Remember when Hillary said, it's a basket of deplorables, and it caused endless shit because they reckon that could have been one of the things that cost her the race, is that independent voters are like, oh, that's a bit mean and unnecessary. These are your fellow Americans.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think they should put him on, like, they should get Joe Biden, maybe like, like Facebook free mode, where you just play around, and they should give him like a media circus that runs with him.
So he thinks it's real. So he thinks it's real. It's like...
So he says all this shit, and then we're like, oh,
and they just delete the file. They got like a fake media team with cameras and lights and all. Say he won't know the difference.
You see, I mean, I come up with great ideas all the time. Yeah.
Mr. President, what do you have to say? Well, I got a lot to say. And the hairs in my legs and corn pop and I like to swim on Delaware Beach.
Still around.
Where's my wife? Mr. President, she's just popped out to the shops. Oh, I think I shat my diaper. Okay, well, thank God this is not live.
I don't think we're going to keep this one.
This one. Meanwhile, Hunter's in the background high as fuck. He's like doing lines off the surface. Exactly. Hunter Biden's there. Like, Dad, are you okay? Yeah, okay, Hunter. What's
you
that?
Hit?
You want to hit? But, you see why I say this is the greatest entertainment, right?
Yeah.
What a show. So I see some South African general was in Moscow.
Okay.
And there was a laying of wreaths at some memorial for World War II or whatever.
Okay.
And I'm pleased to report, for those who haven't seen the clip, that our general was as fat as the Russian general, which is good. And neither general could march properly, but the Russian soldiers marched very well.
Okay.
Have you seen our presidential guard? Not so great by comparison.
No, I haven't seen what they look like. But look, I mean, I think South Africa's army is not the greatest. I mean, I think we basically refer to as the Mabenas. That's like the army from that one clip where there was like the training and then the guy just couldn't get over the balustrade or whatever it was that he needed to get over. And, then now, ever since then, every time you do
not
something disappointing.
From the Nutty Professor.
Yeah. We are now the Mabenas. Mabena, disappoint me again, Mabena.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I don't know. I saw, I was filling up with petrol yesterday and I saw a guy in army uniform. And he's not running. He's not doing any running. He's not running.
He isn't jumping over anything.
Not jumping over anything. If that guy's here to defend us, we're in a lot of trouble. Luckily, no one hates us. You know, I keep saying this to people who are very down on South Africa. Oh, well, the government and national unity is never going to work. And the country's terrible. And the economy and this and unemployment. And I go, the best thing is that all of this shit going on in the Northern Hemisphere is not our problem.
Yeah.
No one is asking, wait, before we decide what to do, let's ask Cyril. No one.
Yeah.
Right? There's no one in the world. There's no world leader at the moment who's going, just hold, guys, let me just get hold of Cyril and just check that he's on board with this. No one.
Don't you love that shit
they
as
don't
well?
care.
When people are like, we strongly condemn this, and you're like, do you think that the people who are in the wars and fighting really care? Like, oh shit, if it's South Africa that strongly condemns the action, well, fuck me. Now
we go.
We have to do something.
And so we're back to the endorsement thing, because Jeff Bezos's paper, the reason they've had this fallout is because the Washington Post wants to endorse Kamala. They want to make a public statement that we're backing Kamala. No one in the United States, especially not undecided voters, is going, hold up, guys. I got to wait for Barbara Bush and the Washington Post. Otherwise, I can't vote. Said no one ever. No one's sitting there going, well, you got to wait for the South African Foreign Affairs Department to let it. There's the Bush family. Okay. So in the middle, now this is when they were all alive. There's a lot of these people are dead now.
So George W., he's the one in the middle.
W, you'll recognize.
And then H is on
the right. Now, W's wife is on his, that's Laura. That's his wife.
Yes. Okay.
She's on his right.
Yeah.
Okay. On his left is his mother, Barbara Bush, the granny.
She's the one with the pearl necklace.
She's the pearl necklace, and she was against drugs.
And the hairstyle hasn't changed.
Well, I think she's dead now, so it's definitely not changed.
Well, yeah.
And then George H.W. Bush is next to her. Okay. He was the former president. He was president number. He was president in the early 90s. He was before Bill Clinton.
So he was the Kuwait president, basically.
He was there from when Reagan left in, I think, 88 or 90 until 94.
So he only had one term, basically.
Well, 92. Sorry, he went to 92. He went from 88 to 92. 92 was Bill Clinton, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
You know, then after Clinton, it was W. After W, it was Obama. After Obama, it was Trump. After Trump, it was Biden. And after Biden, it's going to be Trump again.
It's going to be, I was going to say, I don't know if America is going to vote any other way, sadly.
So Barbara, the daughter, is the one sitting up in the gold dress on Laura's shoulder. That's Barbara Bush.
It's another Barbara Bush.
Yeah, that's Barbara Bush, the younger. And then there's the other daughter who I really wanted to marry at a certain point. Okay. She's in between W and his mother at the back there.
Is she the one in black?
Yeah, she was actually on TV for a while. She like had a TV gig or something. And then, by the way, there's Jeb, very low energy. Okay. Low energy Jeb. He's sitting he's sitting closest to us on the far right of the picture.
Okay.
And then there's other Bushes, but there's a lot of them. Right. That was in the red room at the White House while George W. was still president.
There's a very dark bush on the far right-hand side.
There are some darker Bushes. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah.
There are some of the Bushes are married Hispanic men and women.
Okay.
And I think there's even a black Bush.
Okay. Wow.
But that black bush is not in this picture because that was still in the old days.
Okay, yeah, so he was carrying the cutlery.
Now, of course, he would be running the show, right? Because now that would be very good for the Bush family. But anyway, in case you were wondering, the chick in the red dress, in the gold dress, is now endorsed Kamala, which is very good news for Kamala Harris. Okay. The other thing about the U.S. elections is it tells you quite a lot about celebrity culture. And like Bruce Springsteen announced this morning that if Donald Trump wins, he's going to leave the United States. Oh. This happens every time.
Okay.
Barbara Streisand, another firm favorite of mine. Barbara Streisand, who, by the way, is so kooky that under her house in Malibu, in the basement of her house in Malibu, she has an avenue of shops that only she shops in. And everything has a price tag on it, even though she already owns it. Okay, and she's got antique shops, dress shops, a hair salon. It's all in the bottom of her house. Like
that's
kooky, right?
Well, and also, do you then fire people when the shop doesn't do well? Because, sorry, you're not making sales. We're gonna have to let you go.
But please, Mrs. Streisand, at least open the shops up to other people. Can't just be you. We can't rely on you, Mrs. Streisand.
And you already own the stuff anyway, so it's weird.
She's a total nut job, but she's gonna leave America. She said this, by the way. She said this with George W. Bush.
Okay.
She's like, if he wins, I'm leaving. Well, she's still there in Malibu with her shops. Okay, so
well, thank God for the Spanish people who are downstairs living there and basically manning the shops.
You shut up, Anastasia. You shut up and man the shop. Sure, Mrs. Streisand. I'll just do. Why do these Mark Ruffalo, Hulk? He said, if Donald Trump wins, I'm going to have to leave the country.
Oh.
So? But then do it. Actually do it and go to somewhere terrible.
Yeah.
Go to somewhere that's really hard to live. Then we'll go, well, next time we'll listen to this guy.
Yeah.
Because he's put himself through hell. He must know something.
But also, if you do leave, then what does that do for me as a citizen of the country that Barbara Streisand and Mark Ruffalo are going to leave if Bush wins or if Trump wins? How does that help me decide? Because sometimes when I came to vote as well, I hadn't really decided, and I was like, you see all these names, and then in that moment you're like, shit, I can't do without another Hulk.
Yeah,
I can't do without another Hulk.
Yeah, what are we going to do if they don't make another Hulk movie, another Avengers movie where the Hulk keeps changing from?
And I haven't been to Vegas to see Streisand, so I have to vote.
And by the way, this Barbara Streisand, I got another bone to pick with you. She keeps announcing, not that I would go to any of these because I absolutely cannot stand her. But she, every 2-3 years, she announces a farewell tour. And you're like, but your last one was a farewell tour.
Yeah.
I think there's some little bug in these people's heads on a string, and when election time comes, the string pulls tight, the bug falls off, and they just lose their marbles.
They just keep going.
It's very bizarre. So a couple of people talk the talk but never do the walking, says Judas. Quite right. You can go and squat in their houses if they leave. You don't want to squat in Barbara's house because Barbara Streisand's house. See Barbara Bush, Barbara Streisand, a lot of Barbaras.
Exactly.
Send him to Lagos. He can do some Nollywood films. Samuel L. Jackson also said that if Trump wins, he's moving. The last time Trump won, he's still in the US. Correct.
Yeah.
Percy says, shopkeepers be like, oh, look, it's Barbara Streisand again. Oh, God. The brainwashing about making Trump like Hitler and the rally being a Nazi rally. Unbelievable for people who truly fall for it. Yeah, listen, Patrick, that's happening, man. Sugar Shabalala says, where is Mapelo? It's past 6:30. He's in the comments here, I think. Okay. Congo Chris says, I was undecided until Hulk Hogan endorsed Trump again. Like this. Who's waiting for these people? They are so convinced that they're important. Bob De Niro. The last good movie, Robert, before he started doing these bad grandpa movies with Zac Efron, which are just so embarrassing for a man who's well known for Taxi, for the
Heat and
the Heat.
Godfather.
The Godfather movies. This is Bob De Niro.
Yeah.
He used to be one of the most talented actors in Hollywood. And he stands up at it looks like on his steps to his house or something. And there's cameras and you see, these cameras shouldn't be there because that's what convinces them people want to know.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, this motherfucker. He's like angry, right?
Okay.
Swearing. He's like, that Donald Trump is a piece of shit. And he's like this grumpy, angry old man. And you're like, why are you doing this, Bob?
Yeah.
You've got money. He owns like the Nobu restaurants and things.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a good life. He's got this hot black wife who's much, much younger than him.
And much hotter than him, obviously.
Much hotter than him. I mean, he stopped being hot in the late 70s, all right? But just enjoy your life.
Yeah.
You know, not everything is political. And I don't understand these people who make everything political. I think they don't have enough going on in their lives.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, sometimes you just see things and you're just like, okay, I can let that one slide.
Not every fight's worth fighting.
Yeah, I mean, and the world doesn't need to know my opinion about absolutely everything. I mean, some stuff you can just say to your friends at a braai. I mean, you don't need to put it up on Facebook and in case you're also talking shit as well. Because sometimes, because some of our opinions are not well informed. And we haven't researched the stuff, and then you go and say things on X or on Facebook, and then you think that that's the most important thing in the world, but you actually don't know what you're talking about. At a braai, you can get away with it because people are drunk.
At a braai, you can. So Silas says that nyaupe that Barbara Streisand uses is very unique. Yeah, look it up. I'm not making that up. Hey, she's got an avenue of shops under her house.
But I mean, and these are like real shops with like names and like.
See if you can find a picture of that, James.
Barbara
Streisand's avenue of shops under her house. America is still the only country that I'm aware of that drag out celebrities for public endorsements. Such a warped perception of how voters think. Oh, no. You remember, like there was a time here in South Africa where the ANC brought out like a whole lot of people to sing and do performances and support them.
Yeah, I mean, and didn't people get in trouble at the SABC for endorsing, or like, speaking at rallies or like just attending a rally or just being seen in like.
Well, I remember one of the reasons that I eventually left is because they wouldn't let me interview Julius. And it was 2014, and they were coming in as a new party.
Yeah,
they ended up being the third biggest party then.
Yeah,
now they're not having such a good time.
No.
But political fortunes.
It happens.
They go up and down. But I've never endorsed anyone. I've told people who I voted for, but I've never endorsed anyone and said, this is my guy or this is my girl. This is the person I'm supporting.
And even if you do, it doesn't mean that you must tell other people to do the same thing. I mean, if I tell you
but
I'm
who
voting
cares
for...
Listen,
exactly,
you might come here to laugh. You might come here to learn something. You might come here to just hang out and have fun.
Yeah.
But if one of my friends who I just drink and party with suddenly said to me, I'm very seriously thinking about voting for Action SA, I'd be like, that's great for you.
Yeah, I mean,
but I don't want to hear anymore.
Be like, now that you've mentioned that, I mean.
Yeah. So one of the shame, I saw one of my friends actually posted this. It must have been somewhere in the Caribbean. Rod Stewart performing. I mentioned Bruce Springsteen and Barbara Streisand. These are all like washed up. Yeah. These people should be enjoying their lives, like I said about Bob De Niro.
And they've made enough money.
They've made their money. They've got grandkids.
Yeah.
To just give it up now. You can
look
go
after the grandchildren.
Go and chill. Joe Biden too. Like even you could argue Donald Trump. It's like enough now.
Yeah.
Go and let the young people take over. The boomer generation just will not let go. Bruce Springsteen was performing. He did the worst version of one of his songs. And I thought, someone has to go up to these people. And I know that they're not going to listen because it's like try and tell your parents something when they're in their 70s. They're not going to listen to you.
Yeah.
But you got to try anyway. Go, listen, Bruce, you are the boss. You have this brilliant record. You've the fucking E Street Band. You were the coolest guy once.
Yeah.
But now it looks bad. I want to show you this clip of Rod Stewart. And I love Rod Stewart, okay?
Yeah.
I think he's great. I think Rod has made an awesome contribution. He's had more sex with more women than anyone else on planet Earth except Julio Iglesias. Okay? And maybe a couple NFL stars.
Yeah.
But honestly, this is terrible. Rod, you should have stopped. Like, you don't have to do this. You don't have to. Even if there are people who go, oh, Rod, just one more concert.
Are there no financial advisors for these guys? I mean, are they doing it for the money?
They don't need the money. He owns
so they can retire.
Castles.
They can retire.
Yeah, Rod could be sitting in absolute luxury, being fed porridge by 19 naked women, a century younger than him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to worry.
Fine.
He doesn't have to worry about anything. Look at this clip. This just, I find this so sad. I don't want to see this because I care, Rod. It's because I care. It's because I really give a damn.
I see you leave me, baby. I just don't want to be free.
Oh my God. Look, it's not sure.
That is hard to watch.
Okay, so you have to get past the 3 25-year-old women singing as backup singers and just wonder how much they have to put up with from Rod after the show. He's like, oh, you look really good.
And also, I mean, the band has to be pretty sharp as well, because I mean, with the band, they have to follow what he's doing. And if you don't know where Rod is going with this, then
Rod doesn't know where Rod's going with this.
That's why he's like, come, say, oh, yes.
Please don't mistake this for ageism, okay? I'm a fan of some of these aging rock stars. I am. And I've seen some of them in concert, and I thought, wow, he's still got it.
Yeah.
But then there comes a point where they don't have it anymore. And it would be better for their dignity.
And for their legacy.
And their legacy. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. You get it. Their legacy and their dignity. To just retire the thing and be forever young. Right?
How do you sing that when you're like in diapers and like, and you're actually getting those bow legs that older people get?
You saw what he was doing there. and the music kind of, you can see the band is trying. There's someone in the band going, Rod, come on, give us a cue here. He's like, baby.
And then he forgets his words. Then he asks the people to sing along to be like, what's the word that's coming up in my song?
Guys, like I don't want this to be misinterpreted by Briefly SA or the South African or any of these other amazing publications. All right. I love these people.
You love old people too.
I love these singers. I do love old people. I was regaling the audience with stories about going to a 90-year-old's birthday where I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I was so impressed, and she's got so much energy and she's amazing. But performing a rock song, got to have a little bit of, it's an energy thing, right?
Yeah.
And I just don't know if there isn't a point where people must go, I'm going to throw in the towel now. And you've got this amazing discography. You've got this great, because YouTube, you see, unfortunately, the problem is people will go on YouTube and instead of seeing his performance back in 1983 at Wembley, they'll find that and they'll go, what are these people talking about? You know, some Gen Z will look up Rod Stewart because someone mentioned the name and they're like, who the fuck is that? And they'll look him up and that'll come up.
And that's what they see.
And Rod, you don't want that. I don't want that. Nobody wants that.
But I think the problem is that people also don't have money in their prime, because that's the only reason why people are going to these concerts, because it's like, well, I'm going to go to a Bruce Springsteen concert now because I'm 50 and I want to see the boss. And that's the only time that...
So they don't have money in their prime. You're saying the fans.
You see, exactly. It's the fans that don't have... And that's why the fans keep going. And I mean, like you're saying, who wants to see Rod Stewart at this time? The people are just as old as him.
Wait, I'm just getting a message now. Rod Stewart has just endorsed Kamala. So now we can...
Now we're going...
Everything's going perfectly, okay? Oh, Jesus. So bad. All right, you wanted to talk about something which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Joe's got a whole agenda this morning, by the way.
Well, I mean, I've got stories to tell, and I mean, I've always just been someone who's not been afraid of just talking about the shit that goes on in my life, because
you don't have to sell this to me. That's why we got you here this morning.
Yeah.
So catfishing is apparently on a whole different level now. So I'm not on any of these dating apps or anything because I've heard from all of my friends what an absolute shit show it is.
Yeah.
And I even spoke to someone the other day who said to me he was sitting at a restaurant where he'd arranged to meet this girl who had like matched with on one of these apps. And he waited and he waited and he waited. Nobody came. And then he messaged her afterwards. And that's where she revealed she was actually a he.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he was probably stalking around the restaurant anyway.
Yeah, just to see like if you're gonna come, and it's weird that people do that kind of stuff. But I mean, so I've been through it, and I mean, it's a recent thing, and it was terrible because
you're on the market again.
No, well, not anymore now. But
I thought we'd do a selling job. Let me try here.
No, so I mean, it was actually a friend of mine, and the weird, sinister thing is because I was actually trying to help her out, and I'm like, okay.
So what happened?
So I bought a car that I was gonna then use like as a bolt, and then I was like, okay, you know what, but let me help a friend out because she's in need and she wants to like rent a car. Obviously, credit is bad and all that sort of thing.
Sure.
And I was like, well, let me just do that for the person. But then she came up with this mastermind plan that because I was like, oh, I'm looking for a girlfriend. Don't you know any like hot young Indian girls who work at Janisa? And I was very specific, and she was like, I got you. And she literally came up with this person, and from then it just became this thing where I'd speak to who I thought was a person, but it was actually her just switching WhatsApp profiles.
Oh, so this chick was taking you on a ride?
Yeah, basically, just so that.
And this is a friend of yours that you were going to help with a car.
I was helping them with a car, and I mean, it went on for 3 months, and it was like, and it got weird, and it just, and the things that she did to try.
So she was bullshitting you that she was someone else.
Yeah. So that she could like sort of placate me when I need to like, listen, where's the money for the car? And then, but I'd be like, oh, well, but luckily because, you know, you've introduced me to this girl. Now
but you never got to meet the girl, obviously.
Yeah, I didn't.
Did you have a video call or something every now and then?
No, but that's the thing. That's why it's
got to do the video call, I've heard. Yeah. Because at least, you know, you can't put on filters and you can't use fake pictures. Yeah. A video call has to be video.
Well, look, the genius thing.
How long did she string you along, you moron?
Well, I mean, it was. Oh, look, I mean, I'll admit it. Like I said, for a whole 3 months that this thing went on. But the genius of the terribleness of what she did was the story behind it, and she kept coming up with more and more backstories about why I can't see her, or why
she must be good at this stuff because you're not an idiot.
No, exactly. Well, I mean, and also, you know, you have to play towards people's sensitivities. And when someone mentions that they were raped and almost murdered and stuff like that. Oh,
Jesus. So she was playing a proper deep fake game.
Yeah, proper deep fake. And I was like, no, I ended up at a mental hospital because I need to deal with this. And then I'm like, okay, well, that's why you can disappear for 3 days. That's
but you still were willing to try with a girl who's checking herself into a mental hospital. Well, you're a braver man than I.
Well, I mean, I was thinking about it in that, like, you know, if you're brave enough to check yourself into a mental hospital to do better because of what you'd been through. But yeah, so I was like in my mindful state, in my very mindful place of like, this is what I want. Yeah.
Bitcoin Bot wants to know, how did you catch her?
It was actually through a mutual friend. Who like, because then other things started happening in her life as well, and then we're just like, but some of these stories just don't make sense. Like you know, she's always talking about this, and all of them are around money issues. You know what I mean? So that was the thing, and then afterwards, I just started just putting 2 and 2 together. That no, this doesn't make sense. And every time it's, you know, you're supposed to call, oh, sorry, my mom is this, or no, I'm going into a meeting now, and yeah, then it was just a weird experience, and yeah.
Sugar says, hot Indian girl from Unisa. Send her to jail, says Percy. Diddy says, Dear Bobby on Netflix is such a sad catfish story. Have you watched that?
I did.
I heard about it for the first time the other day. Someone was here on the show. They told me about this Dear Bobby thing.
Sweet Bobby, yeah.
Sweet Bobby.
Yeah.
I did watch Baby Reindeer, and I was just like freaked out by that. There's a lot of people who are very, very desperate for love, huh? A lot of people who desperately need someone in their life.
and a lot of people were willing to take advantage of that. But the weird thing about watching Sweet Bobby was I was watching then with my new girlfriend, and we were watching it at her house with the kids and stuff, and just the similarities that I was like, oh, the Indian girl, and then in Sweet Bobby, it's an Indian girl who's getting scammed, and then the Indian girl just happened to be a radio presenter. So yeah,
too many
touch points,
yes,
and that's why I thought, let me just get out in front of it and talk about it, and just be like, well, this is shit that happens out there.
Okay, so Congo Chris says you need to up your game. 3 months and no nudes. The hell. Sure.
Well, I mean, also, but
how much airtime did you buy her? Says Slippery Pickle.
But that's the thing, not a thing. It was all a ruse about getting the car not to be paid for, basically. So she didn't ask for money. She didn't ask for anything else.
You kind of have to give her dues,
some sort of credit, right?
She managed to get you to basically give her a car for free. And that's you got some stones to get that right.
Well, I mean, and also like the 3 months without nudes is because if someone has been through something like that, then
you can't ask him for nudes.
You know what I mean? Like
if she's been through like sexual abuse,
I've got scars and shit, and I mean that's why I was like, well, let me be the sensitive
what a decent man you are.
Well, wow. I mean, yeah. So that's why I didn't ask for nudes, because I thought, well, she'd been through some shit. So, yes. and apparently she doesn't exist. So.
Vincent says, I was chatting to this beautiful woman and I couldn't understand why this perfect girl wanted to be involved with me. I mean, I look like a damn hyena. So I stopped it. Yeah, well, good for you. Deirdre says, Neaman Joe, we seriously need to chat, buddy. I think Deirdre wants to be your next stalker. There are a lot of broke people out there, says Judas. Money is a big thing when it comes to dating.
Yeah.
Bushfelt Butt says, Gareth, we need give Joe Mann a show on the Real Network. He's got his own show. He's got a job in radio. He doesn't. Yeah. If he's not angling for a job. Carl says, per capita, Indian women must be the hottest. So many. Yeah. Oh well. I mean, per capita, obviously, because there's more of them than any other population group. But
yeah,
I mean, you listen. Again, I'm gonna get into some trouble here, but what the hell? We're already
deep in it
on this show, right? So I will tell you, there are some Indian women that leave everyone else in the dust. You know what I mean? Like Bollywood, beautiful, just next level. And one of my friends has a serious thing for like Indian girls. That's his thing. That's just what he likes. And then you're at the opposite end. It's like Mediterranean women. You get those super hot ones, and you get the old grannies with the scarf tied under their
with a little tuft of a beard,
with the hairs, and yeah,
something coming out of them all. There's always got to be something coming out of them all.
There's the big hairs coming out of there. I mean, like you get the two extremes and very little in the middle.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, we say that per capita, but I mean, how many of us have been to India and seen what lies behind the veil of Bollywood?
Come on. What I mean? No, like, it's probably horrific.
Well, and also, I mean, we watched $1 Million Baby, and I mean, not the one about Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah, and I think there you get to have a bit of more of an idea.
It's a more authentic experience. But you know what? That is not what anyone wants. They want the fantasy. They want to be led down a garden path. They want to be promised the world. This is why people fall for scammers and catfishing things and all the rest of it on the internet, because they desperately want to believe.
Yeah.
They want to believe it's possible. A guy will wake up. He'll be average looking, maybe even below average looking. Won't have any money, but he'll want to believe that there's some beautiful princess out there in the world who loves only him. And she will do anything to be with him, but he just hasn't found her yet.
Yeah.
And he'll believe anything.
And that's the belief that keeps you going. And that's the belief that keeps the catfishers going.
Yeah.
And the scammers.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bring back arranged marriages, says Congo Chris. Yeah, all right. There we go, for sure. Mapello says, the hottest? You mean the hottest in their stomachs? Hi, Mapello, please. Yes. Did we have to go there straight away?
and you thought it was going to be us that was going to get us into shit for the show.
Oh, my God. That's unbelievable. Sure. All right. Now, let's just see here quickly. We got only a couple of minutes to get to the top. But another thing that you're dealing with, and I'm pleased that you're happy to come and talk to us about this here on the show.
Yeah.
Because we like a little vulnerability here.
Yeah.
But people are asking you if you're on Ozempic.
Yeah, I mean,
what's this all about? Have you lost a ton of weight? You look the same as when I saw you a couple of months ago and we were up in Pretoria.
Yeah, I mean, like I've been, on this whole self-discovery kind of journey, and because I mean, when things change in your life,
you get that car back, by the way.
I'm hoping to get it back. Like,
Jesus!
Well, I mean, soon. I need to get it back. I mean,
instead of going on a voyage of self-discovery, go on a voyage to this chick's house and get your car back.
I'm gonna get my car discovered again. But yeah, so I mean, I've been doing a lot of CrossFit, and I've been, just doing a bit of gym and stuff. So that was the weird thing that people like. That's the first thing that people jump to be like, "Oh, you're on Ozempic," and I was like, "How readily is it available? And also, do I look like I've got enough money to get it on the black market as well?"
I met 2 people this weekend who are on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're obviously not diabetic or anything like that.
No, dude, there's nothing wrong with them. They just want it to be much thinner. And trust me, I very seriously thought about it because there was someone I know, and she's always struggled with weight things, but never like she's never been obese or she couldn't get up the stairs or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But she's looking fantastic at the moment. And about maybe a year and a half ago, she was like, "Oh, you got to get on this stuff." And I will not. Have you heard about Ozempic face?
No.
Oh, this is a thing. So this is probably the thing that put me off the most. Apparently, these people who go on Ozempic, it's especially bad for guys. They get these very gaunt, very drawn.
Oh, okay.
Kind of look like
the Luka Modric face, like
Luka Modric face. That's it. They get that look, like they're always hungry, but then they're not because of the Ozempic.
Yeah, or they're willing to sell you something to be able to get.
That's it. So I won't go on it. That stuff that just put me the Ozempic face stories, even if they're not true.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. I'm not a pharmacist or a diabetic or any of those things. But I'm like, you know what I can do? I can go to gym. And I think, frankly, it's insulting that people won't give you the credit for losing the weight. They want to give Ozempic the credit.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, but maybe it's because, again, the whole just the truthful thing that I'm surprising myself with the amount that I'm enjoying going to gym, because before I just go around and just be like, I'm okay with this, and just
I love it. Is that an endorsement for the gym from Joe Mann this morning?
It is, yeah. I mean, I also don't just go to gym. I go to CrossFit. Apparently, there's a whole difference.
Yeah.
It's a cult thing about the CrossFit issues, and
anyone who does.
In
fact, I'm quite surprised that you, being a CrossFitter, took you this long into the show for you to tell me. Yeah, it's like when someone's a vegan, they just have to tell you right up front. I'm surprised we only found out with 5 minutes. Oh, no, it's 7:00.
Oh, shit. Okay.
End of the first hour, and Joe saved the CrossFit thing for there.
Yeah.
But it is a great way to lose weight and get fit. Once you are doing it with people you want to do it with, and I've never done CrossFit, so I can't speak of this. But again, I know people who do. It feels like a cool thing to be a part of, and that makes you keep going.
Well, look, I mean, for me, it's sometimes it gets to be a bit of a lonely experience, because I mean, the person that got me into it, he's also not that serious about it. I'm the one then who took the Kool-Aid and was there, and there's a lot of teamwork, and then I'm the new guy at the gym kind of thing, and I refuse to go to the Oompa Loompa class at 9. I hope they're not.
What's
watching.
the Oompa Loompa class?
Well, I mean, it's because the 7:00 class is the first team Oaks. The Oaks used to play first team rugby.
So the 9:00 class,
and then I'm the 8:00 class who okay, second team rugby. We can still get it, and then and then there's the 9:00 class. That's
the Oompa Loompa class. I didn't realize there were divisions in CrossFit. This is great news. Okay, I can't wait to hear more.
Yeah, so I mean, so I refuse to go to the Oompa Loompa class, because I was like, even though I'm an Oompa Loompa myself, at the moment, I'm gonna go and find the inner athlete in me. And
what? We're all learning new things from Joe Mann. All right, we've got to take a break. It's 7:00. I'm going to give you another cup of coffee with 1.5 sugars.
Yeah.
1.5 teaspoons of coffee.
Yeah.
Because we're using that shitty coffee this
exactly
morning, and milk. That's
Okay.
what you want, right?
Yeah,
okay, I'll sort it out.
Thanks.
Oh yeah, we'll be back in just a moment. Joe Mann is with us. It is Wednesday. It's almost the end of October. U.S. presidential elections on the horizon. Loads of cool stuff to talk about. And we'll be speaking to 2 filmmakers in the last half hour of this morning's show, finding out about wildlife photography, wildlife video, the kinds of stuff they've been involved in. They're involved in a big project that we want to tell you about. It's very, very interesting. I think you're going to love it. That and more on the way.
Why aren't you going to do courses that upskill you? I don't know why filmmakers don't do that. Go and learn tricks. Man, I saw that shot. How did you do
it? Yeah.
That is what we need.
Especially like for the younger ones, like up and coming filmmakers, up and coming videographers. Go and watch YouTube videos. I swear, that's what we do here, believe it or not. And we also just puzzling along, is that you go and you upskill yourself and say, okay, how did this other guy do this? They've shot this thing and they've edited it in such a way that it's like, this is what we produce. And that's really, I think, that's the best way to get noticed. They make up for in skills what they lack in equipment.
Correct.
If you're an aspiring videographer, I'd approach a team and I'd be like, yo, I want to come and film. I'm going to come with my guys and we're going to make the most hot content.
The pro tiers.
Yeah. There's a comment here from Signet. I used to love cricket. The IPL killed it for me. I don't watch anymore. Also, the pro tiers. See, I mean,
that's the last line is the most important.
But you know what? That is like a short story in one sentence. I used to love cricket. We all were there. IPL did kill it.
I just arrived. I was quite excited about the evening. Well, back. I mean, the first mistake I made was to say,
how are you?
How are you?
And what did she say?
Well, not great. Not great. Then I made the second cardinal mistake. I said, why?
And you should have just shut up and moved on.
I should have said, Jen, I'm sorry, see you later. I said, why? What's happened?
Oh.
I was confused. I just arrived. I was excited. I wasn't thinking straight. I hadn't put on my anti-victim armor yet. I wasn't expecting it. I was at a friend's birthday party.
People love it. It's so easy because you don't have to earn it. It's just you find something in your life that makes you slightly uncomfortable. Oh, there's something in my shoe.
Well, victims can't generate their own happiness.
Okay, you've made it to Wednesday. Soon it will be the end of the week and you can relax. That's beautiful. That's what I'm going to look like if I have no hair, according to these two.
But then they didn't give you the Ozempic face, fortunately.
No, Ozempic.
I was hoping they were going to put a Luka Modric thing. Luka Modric sticker there.
Ozempic face. But the producers, it takes them a long time. They're both a little bit, what is it? They have learning disabilities.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
But they did find a picture of Barbara Streisand's shopping avenue. Just so you know, I'm not talking shit. Show the people. Let the people see. People have got to know. Look, there she is showing Gail, Oprah's friend, around her fucking shop that only she goes into. Stupid Barbara Streisand. Look at those terrible dolls and things. I must tell you, anyone who collects those weird China dolls and things, that freaks me the hell out. I think this woman should be institutionalized.
Well,
look. Bee's doll shop.
Wow. Okay.
Straight to the mental asylum.
Well,
straight to the asylum.
I think she's got enough money to open her own mental asylum downstairs as well.
Oh, yes. Maybe it's further down the avenue. Okay, but she's got an antiques shop. She's got a doll shop. She's got a clothes shop. And then she invites her friends, who must also be whack jobs, to her house for a movie or whatever. And they all go shopping first. But then I wonder if she makes them hand the stuff back afterwards. Like,
Yeah, and also there's like there are no other sizes because I mean it's all her shit.
it's all Barbara's fucking size. So she's got a fat friend.
Well, luckily
Tori.
we've got an Ozempic store here for you.
Tori, we've got a pharmacy open with some Ozempic. You get into Barbara's size dress. Unbelievable. Wow. I thought I was like a crazy collector, but that's next level.
Yeah.
And then they pretend to shop because, I mean, I don't know if the till even works. Do you use money?
Well, I mean, then you just use your card and then like, sorry, we're not taking cash today.
Or any day.
Yeah.
We don't.
It's Barbara. We've got Barbara dollars.
Yeah, we've had some cash in transit heists lately, so we're not working with cash.
Or maybe they've got like Barbara dollars. She's got like a whole like system that works there, like a whole economy. Barbara dollars.
Bees cash. Crazy bitch. Really. All right.
Okay.
Speaking of money, South African Airways is considering selling its landing slots.
Okay.
You must know you've hit rock bottom
when you're selling your landing strip.
When you're selling your landing slots at the airport, they're like, "Well, we've got at 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock, and what do you give us for them?"
Sure.
Okay, maybe they should be selling them in B's doll shop. Make some fucking money. No, seriously, they're trying to sell these things. Listen to this story. Apparently, despite being debt-free, SA is facing financial challenges after the collapse of the Takatso deal, which would have secured $3 billion from selling 51% of the airline. SAA's interim board chair, Derek Hanekom, politician, turned into businessman, Derek Hanekom, acknowledged he was one of the ones that they laid off when they didn't get 50 or more percent, right? So they had to give some ministries up. They're like, Derek, you're fucking out.
And look, and he's landed himself in a decent position.
Well, no.
Of another sinking ship.
No, because this one's not going so well. Acknowledged the difficulty of attracting investors due to the airline's past corruption issues. You don't say. So you mean people won't give you their money in case you steal it?
What
say that again. That's very unfair, Derek, I think. So SAA currently leases its Heathrow slots to British Airways and Qatar Airways.
Okay.
With Qatar lease ending in March 2025. So Qatar and British Airways are like, yeah, we'll take them because we got lots of business.
Yeah.
SAA is like, do you want our shoes as well? Is there anything else we can give you? Would you like my shirt? Would you
Are you willing to catfish us to be able to rent out the stuff to you as well?
I'll tell you what we've got. Can we give you the air traffic control tower? You can have that. Is there anything else we can flog? How embarrassing.
Well, and it's actually sad. I mean, this is our national airline. I mean, what are we going to be flying when we win the next World Cup?
Isn't it already a problem? Because I don't think that SAA are the national carrier for any of our sports teams.
Oh, wow.
They aren't. I mean, I think
like probably Airlink or something.
No, Fly Sapphire are the sponsors of the box. They're the official carrier of the box. So
we can't even carry our national teams.
No decision has been made. Early interest from other airlines has been indicated. That doesn't sound very promising. That's like early interest has been shown by.
We'll get back to you.
Yeah, we'll get back to you. It's not a big thing.
Don't call us.
Aviation suggests that the slots are valuable, but will have depreciated due to the pandemic, and stress the need for SAA to assess its future operational plans before proceeding. It's not good. It's not a good story.
Where did we go wrong with SAA? I mean, outside of the corruption stuff. I mean, like,
I think part of like ministers' packages was that they could have unlimited international business class flights and shit like that. I mean, you're going to lose money hand over fist, right?
And also, I mean, the thing about like the flights to Cape Town where you actually serve people food, I mean, like, that's also not really necessary. I mean, it's a 2-hour flight. I mean, it's
so unnecessary.
Or even going down to Durban.
Durban is like an hour.
You get there, like the trolley ladies at the end of the thing.
Well, no, the trolley lady's like, you've just taken your first bite of the sandwich. She's like, we got to pack up. Give that back.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to give that back. Yeah, we're gonna have to take a bite out of your own sandwich, or you guys can share a sandwich, so we do it quicker.
Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, TikTok's founder, he's a co-founder of TikTok. His name is Zhang Yamin. He is the guy who started ByteDance, which owns TikTok, has become China's richest person with a net worth of 49.3 billion. Remember, SAA only wanted 3 billion, and that's in rands.
Yeah, exactly.
So they can have that 0.3 and they'll still be all right.
Yeah.
Okay. He is now worth 43% more since last year.
Wow.
Because of TikTok being so popular, so many people being on it. Although he stepped down from his role, he owns 20% of the company.
Okay.
TikTok's global popularity continues despite concerns over its connection with the Chinese government, leading to a potential US ban unless they sell the app. So that's still very much on the cards.
Yeah.
What will all those influencers do if they ban TikTok in the US?
So, and the thing about for me with TikTok is
You're on TikTok.
Yeah, I am, but I just go there to post my weird shit that I want to post.
Have you met our servant James?
Oh, thank you,
Yes. James.
So I mean, I go there whenever I get like these weird random thoughts, and I mean,
block everything, James. It's fine.
Yeah, so I just go there once in a while, but I don't.
What do you follow things, people? What do you like?
No, I'm just there for like the funny reels that people post and the memes and things like that. Yeah, so I mean, like last time I posted a POV of as a jelly OBGYN. So I had like these sweets, and I had like a little ring sweet, and I just thought like, well, that's what it must be like when a jelly baby is born, and I pushed it through. So that was the last thing that I did.
That did a lot of views.
Well, I mean, I only posted it yesterday, so I mean, I haven't seen.
By today, you could be a full-fledged influencer.
You know what I mean?
Jeez.
But then I'm like, okay, what am I influencing? I mean, am I going to get a jelly baby endorsement after this?
That's probably it. Yeah, that's what you were aiming for.
Well, and I thought that like this whole TikTok thing could be like monetized if everything that was on the videos was like available at some big TikTok store. Like, I mean, if I'm there and I'm wearing this watch or whatever, then you'd be like, oh, well, if you like my watch, then you can get it. Then that would make more sense. Then that would make TikTok a real thing.
I'm sure that in South Africa, TikTok is way bigger than all the other platforms. I'm pretty sure of that.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah,
it must be, right? Guys, do you know anything about that in terms of actual numbers?
I think they'll come back to us at 8:30.
Yeah, they'll tell us just before we finish the show. Oh man, no, listen, TikTok worth billions, but this guy's done very well out of it. He only owns 20% of it.
Well, I mean, I suppose that's a smart thing to do, right? You cash out and then you just keep the 20%. And
well, wouldn't you rather have 20% of that business than 100% of like some
SAA?
SAA.
It's a good thing I don't work at government institutions anymore.
Did you work there once?
Well, no, I mean the SABC.
Oh, well, is that a government institution? Apparently, his wealth has surged to a 60% increase due to a 60% increase in global profits. 30% of individuals in the Huron China Rich list saw an increase in net worth. The list has shrunk for 3 consecutive years, reflecting broader economic struggles. So despite the fact that many other people have lost money in the last 3 years, this guy's
just making more money. He's like printing money, basically.
If you could go back in time, and you could buy shares in one company, what would you have bought?
I think Naspers.
You reckon that would be a good one?
Yeah, I think it would have been a good one. I mean, I think the way that they've always been able to just get out, especially in the South African context, by basically just following what the Americans do, because a lot of the stuff we know, like, I mean, what SuperSport has become is because of Sky Sports, and like what Mnet is because of cable TV, and the fact that he was always able to get out in front of that kind of stuff was
smart. They've sold and delisted all of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like
they separated the listings.
Yeah,
so now
like debundled them.
Now, if you own like multi-choice shares, that's not in Naspers anymore.
Yeah.
So it's not doing nearly as well as, because Naspers was doing well because the whole WeChat thing.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. They were smart. Then, because you can see that, okay, well, if this is not working anymore, let me get out in time or unbundle. Yeah, and then go into something else. I mean,
you're talking about Chris Becker. What a smart guy. I mean, like, absolutely. But imagine if you were even a 1% shareholder in like Google.
Yeah,
right at the beginning.
If you
just a 1%, you're like, you go back in time. You go up to the 2 co-founders, Serge and whatever his name is. You say to the guys, "Listen, here's $1,000. I just won 1%."
Yeah,
and they would have said,
"It would have been sure." Or you just giving them like your mom's garage because it was bigger.
Our tuck money, You're 1% of Google, and you're sitting here 30 years later, and you're like, it's good to be me.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, well, I mean, I suppose companies like, is it true about the guys who like make the signage for like Nike and the Jordans? They actually like not really rich. The people who came up with the graphics for
apparently
the Nike sign, and I know the Jordan one also had some weird story about how the guy came up with it and he just hasn't made any money off of the fact that Jordans are so popular.
I'm telling you, so much has to do with luck.
Yeah,
so much of the stuff has to do with luck. It's like you're just in the right place at the right time, and you find, because there are really rich people in the world, and sometimes there's no explanation for how they made their money.
It's for stupid shit.
Stupid shit, like the guys who made these things.
Yeah,
these aglets or whatever they are,
or like zips.
Zip. The guy who made the zip must have been super wealthy. Velcro. The guy who made Velcro.
Exactly.
Same thing. You don't think about this shit. And then you find out that these people are like multi-billionaires because they invented the stupid thing that holds the shoelace at the end.
How do you feel about like this whole generational wealth thing? Because it's such a big buzzword about generational wealth and this pursuit of generational wealth.
So I think it's a bit of a chasing rainbows, hey? Because they've watched like really rich families over 3 or more generations. They very seldom hang on to the money.
Exactly.
Very seldom. So when people talk about building generational wealth, they maybe mean the one that comes after them.
Yeah.
But after that, the grandchildren, they will piss away that money. They will be drug addicts and they will buy stuff they don't need. They will never, because they don't earn it.
Yeah.
So the important thing, and this is where I'm like, life is so complicated, right? You were talking about how you want to see your favorite bands in your prime. You don't want to see them when you're 100 years old and they're 100 years old.
And you're both driving slowly in your Ferraris because you can afford them, but like, fuck.
But it's so perverse how in order to understand and appreciate money and in order to crack the code, you sometimes have to go through all the struggles and the suffering.
Yeah.
And you have to make that money yourself or you'll never understand the value of it.
Exactly.
Right? So it's twisted because every guy and every girl I've ever met goes to sleep at night going, I wish I was rich.
Yeah.
Everyone. There's not a person in the world. Even the rich people are like, I wish I was that much richer.
Yeah.
But you have to get it yourself. If someone gives it to you, if you inherit it, I don't think you ever understand or value it.
Well, and that's the thing. That's why, we break our back so much trying to get this whole generational wealth. And I'm like, but do we understand that it really doesn't last that long?
Are you building up to an announcement that you're leaving your kids nothing?
No, I mean, well, not nothing. I mean, I'm leaving them experiences.
Oh, very good.
And my connections and introducing them to the right people. But
okay.
No, well, I mean, but I just think that it's like you say. I mean, I think in our youth, it was someone like an Aristotle Onassis who was like an oil magnate or a shipping magnate at the time. And like, where's that generational wealth gone? I mean,
no, he's got grandkids that are still okay.
Are they still okay?
But I think also.
But they're not the richest people in the world.
No, they're not the richest people in the world. And they are living on diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Like they may have a couple of good investments that give them a good return. Listen, money makes money.
Yeah.
So the reality is if you enter the game with 100 million, it's highly unlikely you're going to end up on the bones of your ass. But there's no fun in just getting the thing. This is what I'm trying to explain, and maybe I'm not doing it properly, but the making of the money, the turning 10 Rand into 100 Rand, the game is the fun
process. Yeah.
That's the fun part. I don't think it's just the having it and spending it.
Yeah, like like you said, I mean, you don't really get to enjoy it because you don't know what it took to get there, and that's why maybe then people blow it because
I think that's it.
Yeah, because so basically, don't chase generational wealth because it's a bullshit thing. You won't be there to see it.
No,
and your grandkids will probably blow it. And
look, Vincent says if I could invest, I would have invested in Pornhub. It's worth 98 billion. Is it worth 98 billion? Pornhub.
Vincent, are you alone right now?
But just think about that. Like, who was it? Larry Flint. And Hugh Hefner.
Oh yes, yeah.
Started the old porn magazines,
and Playboys.
That's right. Those guys must have thought.
I know my porn.
They must have thought we have struck gold.
Sure.
We're going to be in business forever. everyone is always going to want to see naked women.
In a magazine.
And they're right, but they got the format wrong because now there's no way anyone's going to be buying that stuff on paper.
Yeah.
Right? It's so weird how things have changed so quickly. I think Trump wealth is in safe hands with Eric & Co, says Mapello. I don't know, hey? We'll have to see. When it gets down the next generation, we'll see. Maybe. I mean, also some families take the trouble of making their kids earn their own money. So even though you're going to inherit, you need to learn about the value of this. So we're not giving you a free car. We're not paying for this. You're going to pay for your own, varsity or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They don't let them have everything. And those ones are okay usually.
And the thing is, you have to sort of have a job. Like you have to have maybe other interests as well. And like actually find work for yourself so that when you actually take over this company, you're not just taking over because of your surname or it's just what you were born into. You actually have to have life experience and know what the world is about to be able to keep this stuff going. You know what I mean?
Spot on. Kali van Heesten says, I bought NVIDIA a few years ago when everybody started using graphics cards for crypto mining, and I'm not looking back.
Oh, wow.
Sure, you've done well then.
Oh, nice.
NVIDIA, very good.
Aren't they the most valuable company in the world now? Because I listen to the news, you see.
There we go. You're very well informed.
Well, I mean, I try not to be, but I mean, I work in radio and I have to listen to the news.
You have to sit through the news bulletin.
When I do my news here, when I do my sports headlines and I hear stuff like, oh, NVIDIA is the most valuable company more than Apple now, then I can sound smart at Bryce. And I'm like, I can say shit like that only because I was forced to listen to the news.
Yeah, the irony is having money allows the confidence to have less. I'm not sure what you mean with that, Percy. You got to explain yourself to us. Gareth, I disagree with you. Money shouldn't make money. It should keep its value over time, space, and divisibility. An investment makes money. I'm not sure we're arguing with each other actually on this. I think we kind of are saying the same thing. It's like you call yourself Bitcoin Butt for a start, right? So you believe in Bitcoin.
Investment, yeah.
So that's an investment. You've probably held on to some for a long time. You've probably seen it grow. You've probably seen it drop a little, grow some more. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think that if you started your Bitcoin investment with $1 million instead of 10,000, you'd be that much happier.
Yeah.
You'd have made that much more. I don't think that's controversial or wrong. I mean, if you want to argue with me, don't argue about that. That's fucking stupid. It negates scarcity syndrome and you can minimize to the max. This is a big problem. Is like, I think many of us live in scarcity. We live with a scarcity mindset. We're like, how much is there and am I going to run out?
Yeah.
Instead of this can be made bigger. And I think that's the major difference between the people I've interviewed and met who are seriously brilliant at business.
Yeah.
And they understand money and they can find ways of just they create value out of nothing.
And like for me, can I give you an example of like how I thought when I started doing radio on your show? I was always like, okay, I mean, I come from campus radio where I was on air like once or two times a week or
and
3
they
times
never even
a week.
paid us.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you think, am I gonna run out of shit to say? And I thought, fuck, I'm gonna be on radio now for 3 hours a day, and it's gonna be every day. And like you say now, it's not just a finite amount of shit that you can say or a finite amount of funny. You can have more experiences and you can do more things. And if you just believe in yourself that you can actually do it, then you don't have to think that, okay, there's only so much. So what can I do to keep it? Or how can I keep other people out from coming to get my shit? You know what I mean? I think that, like you're saying, that's the problem that we have, that we've got the scarcity thing. And it's like, well, if you just open yourself up to, if I can do it today, then I can do it tomorrow.
That's right. And I think you and I talking about something we can both relate to here, and maybe other people can in their own line of business too. But you don't run out of things to say. Not to people who you like talking to.
Yeah.
You never sit there with your friends and go, all right, well, we've talked about all of the things. There's nothing else to talk about. Let's just shut this thing down.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you never do that. It's funny, though, how I sometimes have the scarcity mindset. I sometimes think I'm not nearly as clever as I used to be. I used to read a lot more. Yeah. If you just look at my daily habits now, I don't read books the way that I used to. I don't deep dive into subjects like I used to. I'm not writing books anymore. It's like I'm a little bit out of practice. And I sometimes think I'm actually getting dumber. And it's a scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
I mean, I could easily apply myself to a subject now and I'd be able to understand it.
To get into it, yeah.
Yeah, and it happens on a daily basis. But in my head, I'm like, I'm definitely getting dumber, which is not right.
Well, and you mentioned something that I sort of brought up about the show as well, that like I find that I don't read, and I know that you're a big reader, and for me, I mean, we've been able to hold a conversation and still talk, but is it something that you find is like are you like a sort of a literary snob? Are you
No.
a person who thinks, okay, well, you have to read to be able to be able to hold conversations?
I hate when people say, I'm going to judge you on what books you read. If you read it all, I think there is magic in books.
Yeah,
it's like there's magic in radio, which you do, in storytelling.
Yeah,
because it exercises their imagination.
Yeah,
and if you have an active imagination, then you can be creative. And you can make more, and you won't have scarcity, and you'll be okay, because imagination is a bottomless pit. If a kid can learn to imagine at an early age, and I worry sometimes that our school systems teach kids to think, or they teach them to feel, but they don't teach them to imagine. And I think the most valuable weapon a kid can have going into the world of work or
business,
I mean, because what is the... You're not going to be able to outthink the AI in 5 years' time.
Yeah.
Not even. Maybe right now, you can't outthink the AI. The AI can draft a legal document just as well as any lawyer.
Yeah.
But the difference between the AI and that lawyer is that the lawyer has the imagination to be able to find the loopholes or to think something through from a different point of view or to know how you can skirt the issue or whatever else it is. If you are in a profession where you are forced to think differently and you don't follow the rules, those are the kinds of things where imagination is your best guard to keep your job, to make it bigger, to make it better, to make other people's lives better, to change the world. Imagination. And I worry that that's not something that's being provoked and provided.
Yeah, and like you say, I think what I've also learned about how we went through school and then looking back is that they always used to teach us how to pass exams and not really how to understand things.
How to memorize shit.
Yeah,
you remember how?
I mean, they even give you old exams to kind of teach you like this is what they're gonna ask. So I'm actually just getting you to pass the exam or the test.
Really bad,
as opposed to actually understanding what you're actually talking about, because you just know the format that it's gonna.
We should have burnt those schools down. But you asked about books.
Yeah.
If someone tells me they don't read at all, I'm always a little bit suspicious. If they tell me that they read fiction, that's perfect. I mean, I don't. But if you read fiction, that's great, because what it's doing is it's improving your language skills.
Yeah.
And I don't look at everything you do as a way to improve your skills or a way to be a better person. I'm not Tim Ferriss, okay? Sometimes you just want to read to escape.
Yeah.
And you could be reading comics, and it's still good for you because it's stimulating the imagination. It's getting your language centers going, and it's making your brain do work.
Look, I mean,
it's not a bad thing. Why would I? Were you worried that I would be like a book snob?
No. Well, I think it's because I'm judging myself because I haven't read in a long time, and I'm thinking, I've got some time in the mornings now.
No, you read the Sport every day.
Well, you see, but that's. Well, I mean, I'm more of a fiction person. I'd read more fiction books, but I can see how also not reading and going through everything verbally and all that sort of stuff does affect your language, because like when you're typing out words and you're like wondering how to spell shit, and you're like that's because I'm not really seeing it, and I'm the one who's actually talking and saying the stuff, because if I'm not spelling, if I'm not reading it regularly, then I'm not going to be great at spelling. And now with spell check and all that sort of stuff, so I think I want to get back into trying to get into the reading again, because I mean, words is what I use for a living.
Profession,
yeah. So I think it's something that it's going to trigger something in me. Then maybe I'll spend money and buy a book.
That's good.
You know what I mean?
That's good. I read quite a lot because I also interview people.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that we interview have written books.
Yeah.
because that's still the way that you tell the world what you care about.
Yeah.
Right. Whether you're a public figure or not, if you write a book, you're actually telling the world, like, this is what I want you to know about me.
Yeah.
Or this is what I want you to know about how I feel or think about these things.
About something, yeah.
Right. So then I will have to. And some of these books are not easy to read, and some of them are fucking awful. But I find like it's I can skim through a lot of it too.
Yeah.
I can look at a page and
you just like I kind of know what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. And I could breeze through a book in 10 minutes and have enough to be able to do an interview and not sound like I've never looked at a single page.
Yeah.
But the ones that I really like reading, I'll take my time with. Because then, again, you activate the imagination.
And it's also great how people tell stories. I mean, how people paint a picture, like you said.
Hell
like
yeah.
that imagination. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, but anyway, that's what I wanted to get off my chest. I think I'm,
Well,
like I said,
are you feeling better now that you got it off your chest?
I'm on a self-improvement journey, so I must start reading. And I must read more than John Grisham.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've got two very interesting people, Lauren and David, Lauren Arthur and David Easter, and they are on the line. They are both very interesting people. I'll tell you why, because they're filmmakers, but Lauren's also an accomplished naturalist, zoologist, and, by the way, not a naturist.
Yes, I was going to say.
Those are nudes.
The nudist people.
Yeah, those are nudists. She's a naturalist, zoologist, and marine biologist with a love for conservation and creative natural history storytelling, which is just what we were talking about, funnily enough. And Lauren completed a successful pioneering project presenting live from underwater in the Cayman Islands. That's a beautiful part of the world. Answering viewers' questions in real time with Wild Earth TV. That is awesome. So that's a thing that I don't think any other person's ever done.
I mean, but how awesome is that you can just think about shit like that and you're just like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And
right. And then David is an experienced and passionate wildlife filmmaker who's worked on TV shows at the BBC, Disney, Nat Geo, CGTN, and conservation stories for the WWF. Again, not the World Wrestling Federation, the World Wildlife Fund. We've got to be very particular about this. David has over 1,000 encounters of filming dangerous game on foot and is an experienced drone pilot, shooting both landscapes and wildlife from above. So these people are doing what so many of us fantasize about doing in our spare time, and they do it for a living, which is great. So very happy to have Lauren and David on the line. Where are you guys at the moment?
Hi there, it's good to be here. We are in the bush. We're in the Timbavati Game Reserve, so please bear with us if there are any sort of glitches or drops.
Oh, don't worry.
Now in the bush.
I'm very, very excited to talk to you guys because, I mean, Joe and I were just saying now how cool it is that you get to do this stuff that most of us only dream about, and you've turned it into your daily bread. This is what you do for a living. It's amazing.
It absolutely is. Your conversation there was so fascinating. Words, imagination, storytelling. We kind of do the same with pictures, with film. And yeah, it's not the easiest life in the world. I did get stung by a scorpion last night, so I haven't slept much. And I do apologize for the bags under my eyes.
Wow.
But
Wow.
Where did you get stung?
On my food. It was completely my own fault. So it wasn't one of the super dangerous ones, but I didn't get much sleep last night. So it's not the easiest life, but it's absolutely rewarding and just wonderful.
Lauren, is it true that with scorpions, the ones with the big pincers and the small tail aren't as dangerous as the ones with the small pincers and the big tail?
Yes, you got it. The sting is in the tail. It just comes around and goes, pop.
Ow.
The bigger the tail, the bigger the danger.
And in terms of color, I mean, are the black ones more dangerous than the brown ones? I mean, is that like how it is in real life?
Color's not a thing. Color is not a thing in scorpions.
Yeah, they're gonna embrace the scorpion.
Yeah, the one that got Lauren was an absolute monster.
Yeah.
Jeez. Well, I'm glad you're okay. I mean, thank you for still joining us this morning. I know what a scorpion sting feels. It is unbelievably painful. People think it's like a bee sting. It's way worse.
way worse. Yeah, I could feel it going up my body. My tongue was numb last night. Everything was numb. But yeah, that's a little bit of drama for you all to start the day.
Well, never a dull moment. All right, so tell us quickly about Two Wild Productions, because this is something that you guys are involved in. It's based in Timbavati, which is not that far from here. It's the most amazing reserve. And this is the first of its kind immersive filmmaking course. Now, you're actually helping other people to be able to do what you do, which is part of the reason that I wanted to talk to you this morning. If there is anyone who's listening to or watching us and they think, oh my God, this is what I want, not to be stung by scorpions, but to be able to have this life that you guys have, now there's a way in, because it's always been mysterious. How do you get into this world?
That is exactly it. It is not an easy world to get into. David will tell you more in just a moment, but we had such amazing journeys to get into this industry, both very different. I come from more of a sort of scientific academic background. David comes from a real film background, and we've done really well. And it's got to the stage in our lives where we thought, okay, we've done this, we've had this, but how do we give back? How do we then do something that's not just about us? Because it's not just about us. So we tried to create a program that anyone can join, and it's really going to train you up and give you the skills and the mentorship and the use of equipment and the production of a show reel to really start your journey into becoming a wildlife filmmaker. But it was the community aspect that is the most important, right?
Yeah, well, you know, with my background, Gareth, in cinematography and trying to get into wildlife filmmaking, it is a task near to impossible at this stage. You know, as someone wielding a camera, what you sell yourself with is a show reel, which is a minute or two of your highlight of your best work. But of course, how do you find yourself in the space? You know, how do you get into a wild space? How do you get your hands on the necessary equipment to generate the show reel? And that's something I really struggled with as a youngster trying to get into it. And, you know, we imagined Too Wild to be a facility where people could come and do just that, you know, get hands-on experience. You know, my background's really behind the camera. Lauren, as she said, is more of a biologist. But, you know, our course involves several industry professionals, you know. So we have workshops hosted by natural history editors, script writers. We also do a section on ethics, of course. And so it's
because
sort of
just to explain to people why ethics should come into this is you can't interfere with what's going on in the natural world when you're trying to document it. And there's some very, very gray areas there about like how much you can actually interfere and get involved and how you position yourself and whether or not you're actually disturbing things and not making it natural.
Yes, it's a huge topic for us.
It is, you know, and we don't claim to know it all, and you know, we've made mistakes along the way, and as you say, there's so much gray area. But you know, through mentorship by several people, we hope to give everyone the tools to really make that decision themselves.
I think that's the main point. I'm not going to tell you what the boundaries are. I mean, the obvious ones, do not hurt an animal, is there. But the other boundaries, you've got to kind of have that discussion with yourself. It's an internal conversation. And you've got to decide whether, did I push that animal too far? Did I get too close? Should I have not that downside? And it's a tricky thing because we all perceive things differently. So we are not here to tell you what to do, but we're here to give you the tools, like David says, to make your own decisions as you go forward into that career.
Okay, so let's just start at the beginning here. Photography is the world's most popular hobby by a long way. And obviously video goes hand in hand with that. These days, everyone thinks that they're a photographer and videographer. Everybody thinks that they're an influencer. Everybody is used to being a content creator now if you have even one account on one social media platform. But what you guys are doing is a lot more specialized. And I do think that it requires training and experience and advice from the people who really know what they're doing. And that separates the amazing people from the very average people. Because I know, you know, we all do. A friend, family member who goes into the Kruger Park, they take a picture of some insect and they think that they're David fucking Attenborough or something. and the reality is that's not how it is. It takes a huge amount of experience. It takes a lot of learning, training, and being around the experts. It's almost like an apprenticeship to get there. Is that right?
Yes, almost like that. I did years and years of training before I was allowed behind the vehicle to film animals. I'm sure David was the same. And it's important. We see crews come into this area to film, and they're great people from other countries. And I'm sure they're incredible, technical wise and with a camera, but they have literally no understanding of what they are doing in this environment. They have no knowledge of the natural environment or the animal that they're filming. So how can you really tell that animal's story when you don't understand a thing about it?
Yeah, David, do you agree with that? I mean, it must drive you crazy when some guy from America thinks, well, I'll just get a little closer to this here lion, and you're like, actually, that's not a good idea if you want to live.
Yeah. No, we do see a fair amount of that, and then Gareth. With my background, I used to freelance for some of the big networks like the BBC and Nat Geo.
Yeah.
And I got a bit of an insight into, how many crews are actually arriving in our parks and creating all this content. And that was a bit of a motivation for me to work harder towards Too Wild. And really try to foster the next generation of South African filmmakers. There's absolutely no reason that South Africans shouldn't be, harnessing this gift that we have in this country, and really making our own content. If you think about sort of the wildlife content that South Africans are used to seeing on TV, to me 50-50 comes to mind. And
50-50.
Yeah, exactly. And we'd love to see that change. That also, I suppose, goes hand in hand in the community effort that we have going at Too Wild, which is with every 8 students, we have a fully sponsored student from the surrounding communities attending the course. There is this physical and metaphorical barrier between the reserves, which are often quite elitist, and then on the outside, where some people have not even gotten into the park to see stuff like elephant and lion, and so we're in partnership with a couple of foundations to select these individuals, and have them join us on this 4-week course to try and really nurture the next generation of South African filmmakers.
So tell me a little bit about Fabian Mdluli. He was the first student that you sponsored in this wildlife filmmaking course. Tell me about what he's gone on to do and what he learned while he was there.
He's going to be working for us. We are not letting that boy go. He's a fantastic boy. Luckily, it was Wild Shots Outreach, who we partnered with, that brought him to us. We've been in the area a long time, and it's important that we don't select people that we know or cousins of friends. So to avoid that, Wild Shots are helping us. And he already had an eye for photography, which I think was a real blessing. He wasn't a complete newbie to, the eye behind the lens. Yeah. And what a great guy. As the weeks went on, his personality just came out, and his passion is there, his dedication is there. And we thought, you're not going anywhere. So he's coming back to work for us in November. A month course is great, but then where do you go? How do you get employment? So we're trying to really support him by also giving him employment opportunities as well.
Yeah, he came a long way, holding a photo camera and some of the really exciting kit that we have on site. There are levels to it, and the guy was over the moon to be getting his hands on this kit, as I would be at that age. I mean, it took me.
How old is he now?
50 years. I think
23.
He's 23.
Wow.
Yeah. Just really embraced the experience, had an amazing time, came away with a beautiful portfolio.
And I wanted to talk about some of the stuff that we were mentioning earlier about the whole scarcity thing, and how great it is to see that you guys have not been afraid to take what you've learned and give it that abundance that maybe even people who you teach could be even greater than you. You're not holding on to and hogging the limelight or the knowledge that you have to say, well, this is our thing and this is our niche and we've found it and we want to have the pie to ourselves. It's great to see that you've been able to to give back and hopefully make him into maybe even a greater filmographer than you guys are. Then that's someone that's come through your hands.
I hope so. I believe that's the problem with the world, actually, that people are hogging on. It's my thing. It takes an army. That was something that David taught me. You really can't do things on your own. I mean, you can try. It takes other people. You need to work together. And we've had our moment, and we're still in the moment. I mean, we live in the bush. We've got honey badgers coming into our kitchen every night, which is really not fun. Scorpions. It's crazy. We live the life, so we're already in it.
All right, so I want to talk about your individual careers for just a second, because you must have some incredible stories. Being out there and experiencing these animals at the kind of close quarters that you do, and having to try and do a job while doing it. So you're just out there stopping for drinks and biltong and like looking at the horizon. Like, you guys are actually working. So tell me, and just give us a little insight into some of the experiences that you've had with some of these more dangerous animals. This is your chance to kind of boast about your once-in-a-lifetime experiences. And you both have done so many interesting things. I'll let you go first, David, because we started with Lauren, and then you can just share some of the more harrowing moments of your career so far.
It's something people often ask about, and you're kind of careful about answering it because you don't want to paint this picture that it's just an absolute minefield out there. Because really, if you approach things with respect and space, things really don't happen that often. Yeah. But saying that, a few things have, of course.
Now that you put that caveat in place, now tell us.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is we worked in Kenya for about 6 months, and the Masai Mara, the biggest park, very famous, it all shuts down at 6 p.m. Mm-hmm. So the public needs to leave. It's a bit like Kruger. You can pay for a pass, part of a tour, and everyone leaves at sunset, But because we were filming this TV show, we had access into the park at night, which we thought was so cool because it was just us there. We had the park all to ourselves. And because of what we were doing, we needed to stay out the entire evening and be ready for a shoot first thing in the morning. So we would spend these nights out sleeping on an open vehicle. And when I think about Kenya and I compare the wildlife experience to South Africa, I always feel that South Africa is almost safari light, where Kenya is full on, and of course, well, you guys will know that lions are different animals during the night than they are in the day.
Yep.
Day they kind of see you as a threat. They'll move away, be a bit cautious of you, at least most of the time. But at night, it's their house, and their attitude really changes. And the one evening we were in some very long grass. I mean, I was sitting on the vehicle and I could touch the grass if I stuck my hand out. So visibility was quite poor. And how we would do it is that we would sleep in shifts, me and the driver. The driver was also the presenter. And so, it was now my turn to sleep. I think it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. And I suddenly feel this very frantic pushing on my arm. And as I open up my eyes, I see that it's the presenter in a very hushed tone, waking me up and telling me to not move. All right. And as I sort of turn,
you move.
I turn around to see what's going on behind me, and I'm laying flat on the vehicle. So my butt is sort of just on the edge of the vehicle. And as I turn around to look, I see that there's a lion within reaching distance having a sniff.
What was she sniffing?
Well, let's not go there. But really within reaching distance. And I have to give the guy credit, his quick thinking. He took his water bottle, he unscrewed the lid, and he just threw a bit of water on her, and it just took her out of that hunt and she moved away, and so did we. we got out of there.
You would have been a rump steak.
Yeah,
literally.
Jesus.
Well, also, but I mean, waking someone up who's sleeping and not moving, and also telling them not to move is a little bit counterproductive. Because I mean, you are sitting there peacefully, and waking up and be hey, don't move.
Holy shit! Okay, so how about you, Lauren?
Oh goodness, there's many. But generally, like David said, I'm just going to say it. Most of these situations are our own fault. I mean, we can't all our own fault. So I love running, and I love bush running, which many people would think is crazy or frown upon. It's exhilarating, and I just love it. So we often go bush running together, never been any problems. So of course, with that, it makes you think, you get cocky, you get complacent, basically. Syndrome. And one day I was off in the morning, so I had no idea what had happened out there, and no one told me that anything happened. So I thought, it's fine to go running. Went running on my own, mistake number one, and nothing happened. I just ran. I did my loops. Went round and round and round. Came back, and it was in the afternoon. And they said, Lauren, that leopard that's just outside camp in the bush from this morning? Why don't you take it this afternoon?
Oh thinking, my God.
What bush? That bush, the acacia that's just on the corner there. And I'm thinking, I just ran past that 5 times. So as I go out in the car, I can see my friends. I can see, that's Lauren running and running and running. And as I go, lo and behold, the leopard is literally just sitting there and hasn't moved. That leopard had literally just sat, knew that I couldn't see him, which is incredible. And just watched me, probably thinking, look at that slow thing. Why is she so slow? And it's just crazy to think that you put yourself out there and you are that. I mean, the distance between us must have been this. And yet he knew, she can't see me. I am hidden. And that was a big wake-up call for me, and also a big sort of understanding that these animals have a lot more knowledge than we do. And he knew he didn't have to run or hide or jump up a tree, because for some reason I was running and I just didn't see him there. So there was lots of close encounters like that. But again, it's all our own fault, that you can,
I think the scariest or most intimidating experiences are probably elephants. Angry bulls or
angry cows,
upset mothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've had several experiences like that where, they can be quite placid and friendly and so on. But, we've also had sort of tusks through the grill of the front of the vehicle, and the vehicle lifted up.
Just give us also, as your chance to boast a little bit, some of the things that you have managed to capture or be a part of in terms of filming and creating this amazing stuff that you have, either for networks or things that you've done in your own time that you're most proud of, the kinds of stuff that you think will be in the compendium of great wildlife moments, because there must be many, and I know it's hard for me to force you to choose one or two, but just to give people an idea of the kind of exhilaration that can lead to a truly monumental piece of work that comes out of hours and hours and hours of sitting and waiting and waiting and waiting and nothing happening. And then suddenly you get that magic. Tell us about those.
You've actually nailed it there with the waiting and waiting and waiting. People don't realize how much patience you have to have. People get bored. Can we go now? Why is nothing happening? Where's the animal? I always take my Kindle with me, because normally there's no network. And I'm obsessed with hyenas. Obsessed. I love them. I've got a tattoo. I just think they're the best thing in the world. So I study them. I dive into the clan dynamics. I adore them. And I knew this female was pregnant. It's very difficult to determine when a female is pregnant. And it was Ribbon. This is Ribbon, everyone. Hi.
Yeah.
And she's an amazing female. And obviously Darby was stuck being my cameraman. Derby. So every day we just sat at this hyena den, which is just a termite mound. There is nothing. And we're just sitting, and we're just sitting, and we're just sitting. But I know she's pregnant. I know she's going to be there. And of course, long story short, we eventually get there, and we end up capturing on film 1-day-old hyena cubs, which is really rare. I don't know anywhere else in the wild outside of captivity where that's ever been captured before. And they ended up coming out with mom, and I started crying.
Wow.
Yeah, it's moments like that where it was worth the wait, and it was worth trusting my gut. That's a big thing in our industry.
I love it. I love that you've got the tattoo to mark it as well, because that is incredible. How about you, David?
There's a game reserve in South Africa called Mount Kamdaboo, and they've got cheetah there. And of course, when you think about cheetahs, they often hunt in flat open plains is generally where you see them. But this terrain is very different. It's rocky and mountainous. And we were on this very grueling shoot for 4 weeks. And the road network is terrible. Only a handful of road, which means you lug everything on foot,
Wow.
And because of the big zoom lenses that you use, it means that everything is heavy. It's a whole lot of weight, and you're up and down this mountain on foot after a cheetah. I mean, you can imagine that it's a very difficult thing to keep up with and get ahead of, because obviously you want to be ahead of the action. So conditions were really tough, cold and just cold. And it's a grueling couple of weeks. And what the cheetah there do, which is quite unusual, is that they actually hunt kudu. And cheetahs generally, they go for the smaller stuff. And Indian and it's pretty unheard of for them to go for such prey. And their approach to hunting them is also not really uncommon, where what they'll do is go up the mountain and then get them spooked. And then, kudu is such a big animal for them to take down. So instead, what they'll do is chase them down the mountain. Up until the point where they slip and fall and injure themselves, and then hop on top of them, often breaking their neck or their back in the process. And it had been, I think it was about 3 weeks in, and we hadn't come away with a huge amount. People were exhausted and getting grumpy. I mean, the producer wasn't entirely thrilled because we're not coming away with a huge amount. So it's getting to that point in the shoot where like the screws are on now, and anyway, so we find our cheetah again, and we stick up the drone for no particular reason, not because we thought something was going to happen, but rather to try and keep eyes on her and keep up with her. And with the luck of the drone being in the sky, not for any particular reason, she starts to hunt and chases this kudu down the mountain into a ravine, and the kudu slips and it falls, and all of this is captured on the drone by a really big piece of luck, And of course, we arrive with the normal cameras and capture everything else, the feeding. She brings the little babies to feed on it. And that's a standout moment for me, for some really unique behavior captured.
That's incredible. Well, listen, I think it's amazing what you guys are doing with Too Wild Productions, with helping other people to experience these unbelievable adventures that you get to be a part of. And it's just so great that you're doing this all in South Africa, and that there's suddenly an entry point for people who want to do it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
I love it. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us this morning. I'm sure you've got a crazy day ahead with lots of animals and what, honey badgers in your kitchen, you said?
Dude, don't even talk to me about this. The kitchen is glass doors and locked. This badger comes and just literally takes the glass door off its frame, throws it. All our doors are smashed and comes.
It's not amusing anymore. It was funny to begin with, but he's just terrorizing us now.
Have you got that on film?
Trap cam.
We've got some very funny shots of it making its way in here. Yeah,
that's fantastic. All right, thank you so much, Lauren and David. What a pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you for having us. Cheers.
Amazing. Thank you. Wow, what an incredible story, huh? These guys
no, it's great. I mean, that last story again that we spoke about. I mean, how sometimes it's just about luck, and you just have to put yourself out there, right?
Amazing.
That to get shots like that, you're like, well, I don't know what I was doing, but I'm just gonna go there and he captured an incredible moment. I mean, a cheetah chasing a buffalo off a cliff. I mean, that's
kudu.
Kudu, yeah.
I mean, that's a big antelope,
Well, I mean, and it's a smart way to do it. I mean, it's like
brilliant.
Those killer whales, the way that they capture those seals, or that that formation that they do. It's great how smart these animals are, and they've gotten creative in killing.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe humans shouldn't learn too much more about it. We've also got creative in killing. Not necessarily a good thing. Lauren Arthur, David Easter, and thank you very much to Joe Mann. Thanks for coming, dude.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
This has been fun.
Yeah, I mean, and I was actually telling you at the beginning, I was like, I'm worried. What are we going to talk about for 2 hours? The first
And
time
you didn't have to prepare any sport or any of that shit.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
Yeah, so easy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, it's nice to see you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, man.
Good stuff. All right. We will see you on Friday, 6 a.m. Make sure you don't miss it. Right here on the Real Network. Be good.
Bedre og bedre dag for dag. Bedre og bedre, og bruk armene og bruk bena. Ikke gå rundt stolen. La 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 la. Ikke gå rundt, nei. Og bruk armene og bruk bena. Tra la la la.